Hello to you, everyone who has already joined us. My name is Steven Achaki, a consultant at Flagsm Company, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all for this webinar. We are going to see how the SunSystems budget work, and in this way you can be able to streamline your budgeting processes so that you can gain more control over your finances in a company. So just to start, a brief about Flagsm. We are an IT consultancy company where we focus with provision of financial system solutions to our clients, HR solutions, and other business process customizations. So we have a large client base, and this has been enabled by the team of professional staff which we have that work around the clock, and this has been done for the past 16 years. Now I can see people are already joining us. Welcome to all. People are still joining, so just give them some few seconds to join. So as they join, shared on your screen is our contact, both in Kenya and Uganda. In Kenya, we are located along Mombasa Road in Nairobi. That is Next Gen Mall, 3rd floor on the 4th unit, and the contacts are as shown on your screen. We also have an office in Uganda, that is in Kampala, and the contacts are also shown on your screen. So if you feel like you want to have an inquiry, you want to contact us, you can either visit our premises physically, or you can contact us via the numbers shown on your screen. So this presentation is going to be done by two people, and my colleague will now take you through to the next phase of this presentation. I'll not take much of your time. I know you are very eager to see how this process works in SunSystems. I'll not take more of your time. Just to welcome now my colleague, Mr. Innocent, who will introduce himself further and take you through the demo. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Steve, for that introduction. And again, welcome everyone. My name is Innocent Arubia, System Consultant at Flagsm System Enterprises. And today I'm going to take you through the managing your budget with Infor SunSystems. Yeah, so SunSystem itself, this is a financial management system, and it has several features. And one of the main features is to do with the budget, that is having multiple budgets. That is apart from the actuals where you usually post your transaction, you also have additional 10 budgets that you can define and also specify how to use them, be it either for holding budget values or commitment values, revised budget, and so on. So within this system, SunSystem, it allows you to budget, plan, and it also empowers you with a robust solution for budgeting, forecasting, and financial planning. This system also enables you to control the entire budgeting and forecasting processes, including the dispatch, collection of budgeting workbooks, and automatic transfer of budget data to the SunSystem budget ledgers. And using SunSystem budgeting reporting features, you can be able to consolidate and extract summary reports, make comparison between what has been budgeted for and the actual values. So we start off with what is a budget ledger. In SunSystems, a budget ledger is a separate set of transactions used to store different set of financial values, such as budgets, commitments, and so on. In addition to the actuals ledger, that is where real-world transactions are posted. This system allows you to be able to define 10 extra budget ledgers, and we usually have this additional extra budget, usually assign them letters. A is usually for the actuals. Then from letters B to K for the additional budgets. So here the organization can decide which budget holds the budget value, which one will be holding the commitments, and so on. So as you can see on an image here, this is just a demonstration whereby you can be able to have your budget in Excel format and upload it into the different budget ledgers with a click of a button. Then Infor SunSystems, two budget ledgers can be used to control expenditure. And these are the budget ledgers and the commitment ledger. And remember, the commitment ledger is only available if you are using the SunSystems purchase module. Basically, these are those purchases that you have paid, but you haven't invoiced them yet. Now, when it comes to these extra budgets, the same rules apply as they will apply on the actual budget ledger. Here we have the same chart of accounts, the same analysis codes, the different posting rules, and so on. Actually, when it comes to posting or running processes, they're just similar as to the actual. It's just that the values now are being held onto a separate budget ledger. So, what is a budget check? So by this is just linking an account in the actuals, that is where your real transactions are, to the account in the budget ledger that contains the budget values. A budget check can link several accounts to the same budget account, or if you want, you can have several actual accounts having only a single account on the budget ledger. So this means that when we processing your transactions, be it through ledger entry or ledger import, be it through Q&A Excel or purchase order transactions, the system will be checking the values that you're trying to post and also compare that value with the budget remaining in the system. If what you are posting is within the budget available, the system will allow to be able to process your transaction. If not, you'll be receiving a message that what you are trying to post is beyond the budget and will not be able to proceed with their posting. So what budget controls are there within Infor SunSystems? The SunSystems budgeting feature allows you to hold budget values against accounts and analysis codes. These budget values can be used in two different ways in the system. One of them is to control expenditure and on if any transactions exceed the available budget. The other is to provide values for actual budget or forecasting reports and inquiries. Here you can be able to extract a budget comparison report, which can be running periodically or on a given range of period or years. So what are the different types of budget checking in the system? There are two main ones within the system, and the first one is expenditure checking. This one actually just monitors the actual expenditure against the budgeted values for accounts selected to the system. So again, as you'll be processing transactions, the system will be checking those transactions against the available budget. Using this formula, where the available budget will be calculated by the budget being held in the budget ledger, less the expenses, less the committed expenditure. Remember, the commitment is only available when you're using purchase module. The second type of budget check is the commitment. Again, this will only find it if you're using the purchase order module. Another subcategory of this commitment checking was what we call the soft commitment. This is just similar to the commitment checking. The only difference that this is used when you are using now the purchase requisitioning within the system. The formula for calculating the budget is still the same as for the expenditure checking, whereby you have the available budget you less the actual expenditure and the committed expenditure to get what you currently have available in the system. So at this point, I'm just going to do a demonstration to show you how you can be able to control your expenses and also monitor your budget within SunSystems. Yeah, so here we are into the system. So I'll just briefly show you where you normally set up the budget. So as you can see from this window, you can decide to have several actual accounts having a single budget account in the budget ledger. So whereby you can be able to give a range of those accounts, then you specify the budget account in the budget ledger. Or you can decide to have one account, its equivalent account in the budget ledger holding the budget values. You also have the different navigation methods of budget checking the system. You can decide as an organization to be checking only the budget available in the current period only, or let the system check what's available in the current period, then go to the prior period to check for any available budget, or check the current period, go to the prior periods. If the budget is not available, allow the system to access the budget in the future periods. Again, you can decide to have budget checking in a given year or multiple years. This means that once you exhaust the budget in your current year, the system cannot be able to go back to the previous years and check for any available budget. You can also have a combination of budget checking whereby you check both at the account level and the analysis level, or only at the analysis level. And the system allows you to do a combination of up to 5 different analysis dimensions. So for example, in this case, I have my budget set up at the departmental level. So under uploading budgets is very simple. If you're familiar with the ledger entry, so what you just need to do is to change your budget. And you normally change this by a function called change budget. So if we click on change budget, this is now will allow you to be able to pick from the list of defined budgets within your environment. So I can switch to that. And I'll get this message that I've switched to the budget ledger. And if I go to the bottom of my screen, there is an icon here for the ledger. As you can see now, it's indicating B. This means that now I'm logged on onto the budget ledger. Then from here, I can be able to do a ledger entry to upload my budget or have the budget prepared in Excel and transfer it to SunSystems. As you can see, nothing really has changed because I have still the same function as I had in the actuals ledger. So I'll just switch back to the actuals. Again, do a budget change, specify my ledger like that. Again, if I go to the bottom of my screen, now it's indicating that I'm in the actuals ledger, as you can see with the letter A down there. You can also be able to do inquiries, that is, if you want to see the available budget within the system. So one of the functions is what we call the budget check inquiry. I'm just going to click on it. Here I'll specify my account or account range. For example, let me just query the available budget to this single account. Then I specify the year, like that. Yeah, so for this account code, I have 2 budgets. This budget has been split to 2 departments. So if I scroll to the right here, you're able to see the departments, that is their codes. You have department 41 and 44. 41 is IT, 44 is finance. So again, using the formula I showed you earlier, you have the total budget, you have the spent amount, and you have the budget remaining. So budget means usually the total budget less the spent amount, less the commitment amount, less the soft commitment amount. So I'll go back, pick a different account. Let me now switch to a different account here. For this account, you have 8,000. What has been committed is 1,500. What has been spent is that, and the budget remaining is that. So as you can see, the system is following that formula that I showed you earlier to calculate the budget available. Now, let us now test the budget checking feature within this system. To do this, I'm going to do a simple ledger entry. So I'll come back here. This is 37,650. Again, it has been analyzed by the department analysis. So I'll focus with department 41. As you can see here, the budget value is 26.99. So I enter my account code, specify my currency, and enter my amount. So for example, let me work with 2,500. Then this one will be a debit entry, pick my date, and lastly, my department. Now, the system has allowed me to proceed because this value that I've entered here is within the budget available. If I go back here, the budget for this 41 under the account code 37,650 is 26.99. I'll go back here and try and increase this value and exceed what we currently have in our budget. So let me say 3,000, for example. So when I do that, I'll get that message. This is the system telling me that I've exceeded my budget by that value. So as you can see, if you have the budget checking feature enabled within SunSystem, it will allow you to work within the budget that you have uploaded. If you try to post anything beyond the budget available, the system will restrict you. However, if there's a really need and you discover that the budget is not enough, you can either override, because this budget feature also allows us to be able to have a tolerance. Maybe you can tell the system, yes, as much as we have set up budget values for the different accounts, however, let us have a tolerance of maybe 1,000 or a tolerance of a percentage of the total budget. And to do that, I'll quickly go to ledger setup, transaction rules. So as you can see from here, you can either set a tolerance by amount or as a percentage. So at the moment you have one for 200. And that's why if I come back here and enter a value of 2,800, for example, the system will still allow me to be able to proceed. As much as 2,800 is beyond our valuable budget of 26.99. The reason for this is because I've also allowed the system to give a tolerance of 200. But if I now try to exceed beyond that tolerance, I'll get a message that I've exceeded my budget. So let's work with the 2,900, for example. I'll get that message. This is because I've not only exceeded my budget available, but I've also exceeded the tolerance value. So that is just an additional control feature that you can use. So next, I'm going to quickly demonstrate the commitment. That is now using the purchase module. So I'll quickly enter an example for a purchase entry. Let me pick that, specify my currency. And I'll pick my item code. Here I'm trying to raise a purchase for training as an example. Like I said, this train is going to take 3 days at the rate of, let's say 500 per day. Then I'll pick my supplier record. Now, this system is very customizable. You can also decide at what point the system does the budget checking. You can decide at the point of order entry. That is, the system will be checking as the line are captured in the system. Or you can tell the system, I want this budget checking to be done at the point of confirming my lines, right? In that you enter your entries, then once you're satisfied with your entry, then you click on confirm. That is the point when the system now checks for the budget available. So for this example, the budget checking will happen at the point of confirmation. So I'll confirm my entry. Just switch my department back to IT. Yeah. So my total value is that 1,500. If I go back to my budget checking query, the budget for IT, which is 41, is 2699. As you can see, that is still within the budget available. Within the purchase order, there is a field for budget checking status. This one has now been updated to past budget checking because the total value of a purchase order is within the available budget. Now, when you confirm this entry, these values will now be treated as a commitment, okay? Because this PO is still open, we haven't actually finalized it. What I'm going now to do, I'm going to close this window. And the moment I close it, I'll get that message. Now, this is the system now telling me that it has committed this 1,500 to the budget, to the commitment budget ledger. So this is now saving 1,500 for this purchase order and reducing our available budget. So I'll click OK. I'll go back to my budget check inquiry, refresh it. Now, this time on our commitment, we have a value. It has now increased. Remember, we initially had 26,600. You less that by 1,500, you have 1,199. And that 1,500 now has been saved on our commitment column. Initially, you had 1,000. That's why you can see a total of 2,500. So you're going now to assume that the supplier has now sent us the invoice. And now I'm going now to process the invoice, just so that you can go to see how the reversal is done. That is the commitment reversal, or how we convert now the commitment values to an actual expenditure. So I'll generate the invoice. Enter the PO number. I'll enter the supply invoice reference. Use that as an example. Now, take note of these values you have on this column. On our spent amount is 301. The committed is 2,500. The budget available is 1,199. As I said earlier, you can tell the system when to post these budget values. So in this demo, this budget value should be posted at the point of matching. That is the commitment that you posted earlier. We see the system to reverse that commitment when you match our purchase invoice against the purchase order. So I'll head and match. I need to be very careful here. and pick the correct PO line, which is this one. So this is our value, which is the same as that. Then I match these entries. Then I'll exit this. The moment I exit it, I'll get that notification. Here now what we are doing, we're now reversing what was committed earlier at the time of purchase order entry, and now converting it to our actual expenditure. And I'll lastly finalize this process by confirming. Now, if I go back to my budget check inquiry and refresh it, now the 1,500 that was here has now been converted to an actual expense and added to the 301 that you had earlier to have a total of 1,801. Then when I exit this, a journal will be posted to the actuals. Now this is now a real expense because we have booked our invoice. So from those two demonstrations, you can see how the system monitors the budget and also does the budget checking for both the expenses and the commitment. In addition to that, within the SunSystem budgeting feature, you can also be able to extract reports. These reports, you can either extract them through Q&A Excel or from the system itself. So the first report, I'm going to pull it from the Sun. I'll come under this type of financial reporting, head to financial analysis, pick my report, give it a name or a title. Let's call it a budget report, for instance. Specify my period range and extract one for, let's say, for instance, period 4 of the previous financial year to period 7, 2024. Again, this report, you can design it to meet your needs. I'll enter my department range from that department to that department and extract this report. Yeah, so there's our report. It has been extracted. So in this report, we have the different departments, as you can see here, and a summary at the bottom here. So for example, within IT, we have the different expense accounts, the budget values, what has been expensed, that is the actuals, any commitment values on this column, total budget consumed, that is summation of commitment values and the actual, look at the total consumed budget, the budget available, the budget that was uploaded, less the consumed budget, you get the budget available. And you have this for the various departments. You have one for marketing, the detail for the different expense accounts, and a summary total down here. On the bottom of my screen, I have the total values there. I'm going also to extract the same report by using Q&A Excel. And with the Q&A Excel, I already have a template for this. So again, I'll just specify my period, for example, from that period to that period, then extract. Yeah, so we have the same report, just that here it has been summarized. I can expand it to see the details for the various departments. So for example, in under telecommunication, we have a budget of 63,500. Let's see what you have on our report. Yeah, so let me just go back to that report. Yeah, so this one is showing by account level. So within this telecommunication, and let me go to IT. So under telecommunication, IT 15500. I'll go to IT telecommunication. The exact value 15,500. Available is 53,80. 53,80. I'll go to the totals. For 12, 350, 128, 372. For 12, 350, 128, 372. So here you can be able to pull out the same reports either through Q&A Excel or from the system itself. And lastly, you can also be able to do budget reallocation. Maybe on a given period, you find yourself that a certain department or a certain expense account, you have exceeded the budget. You're able to do reallocation, whereby you allocate budget values from one account to the other, or from one analysis code to the other. And doing that is very simple, just a matter of switching the budget ledger down here to budget B. So if I can go back to my budget check inquiry, let me refresh this. So for example, under this analysis 41, which is IT, we have a budget remaining of 1199. However, in 44, we have 5,000. And maybe I want to procure something that is beyond this available budget. So let us now do a budget reallocation from 44 or from finance and take some of that values to IT. I'm going to move 1,000 from finance and take it to IT. Then you'll come back here and see how the report looks like. So I'll go to my function that is changing the budget. Change it to budget B. Then I'll do a simple ledger entry. Pick my journal type for budget. Give it a reference. Then specify the account. So the account was 7,650. Pick my date. Currency is that, my value is 1,000. So here we're moving 1,000 from 44. So this means we're going now to credit 44 and debit 41. Now this 44 is the finance department, as you can see there. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it as credit. Then I'll create a second line. Enter the same account because we are transferring within the same account but different departments. The same value, which is 1,000. Then specify the department for IT, which is 41. Now for this second line of entry, I'm going to debit it. Like that. Then I post. At the bottom of my screen, I'll see that the journal has been posted successfully. And this journal has been posted to budget B. As you can see here, the budget ledger is B. I'll head back to my inquiry and I'll calculate. You can see now 44, we have less than by 1,000. Now what is available is 4,000 and you have added 41 by 1,000. And that is how you allocate budget across different accounts or different analysis. So at this point, I'd like to bring this demonstration to an end and invite back my colleague Stephen to handle any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Innocent, for that very wonderful presentation. So at this point, I would like to invite you to ask any question, any area that maybe you have missed or a place that you need some clarification. you are very much invited to ask. So just feel free. You can use the hand icon to raise your hand and then you'll be chosen, or you can just type your comment on the comment section and then you'll be able to revert back accordingly. So feel free to ask any question. Okay, so I believe the silence would mean that this has sunk in very well, and I would like to appreciate your time for attending this particular webinar. And this is something that we do on a monthly basis every month, depending on our schedule. We always have a webinar, so feel free to always check with us. And as you can see on this next slide, we have also another webinar that will be happening on 14th of March, 2025. And this will be now focusing on how you can be able to customize some systems to be able to meet the evolving business needs. You know, nowadays there is so much dynamics when it comes to business processes, finance processes, and all that. So we are going to see how we can be able to customize this system to be able to meet these kind of needs. And if you just joined us late, our contacts again are shared on your screen in case you need to contact us. You can always reach us through our mobile phone number, that is the landline number. And also for Uganda, you can do the same. And displayed on the left side of the screen, you can see that we have our social media handles. We have our X account, the Facebook account, our website, and also LinkedIn, and as well the email. So feel free to reach us out, and any questions that you have will be answered. You can also visit our YouTube channel, that is Flags and Systems. You can find these videos, the recorded videos of these webinars, and any other video that we do for purposes of explanations and information dissemination. You can find those kind of videos on our YouTube channel. So feel free again, and I believe you'll be able to get assistance that you need. Otherwise, thank you again for sparing your time to meet us. There is a chat from someone, just my colleague, just deal with that shortly before we can close.
Okay, so we have some comments on our chat area. There's one from Weekly for Cheng Odera. Greetings, Flags then. Great presentation to you, Stephen and Innocent. Thank you very much for that feedback, Mr. Wycliffe. We have one from Cyrus. I will need one-on-one something. Okay, I think you can be able to reach to us after this for any clarification that you might have missed or you might want. We also have a question from Millicent Saia, and it says that a comment on how to forecast the existing budget. Now, remember, as I mentioned earlier, this system, it gives you room to be able to come up with 10 extra budget ledgers. And one of them can be one for the real budget. That is the budget values. So for example, on our demonstration, that was budget B. That is where the system now usually checks the actuals against that budget values. We also have commitments. And from there, you can also define extra budget ledgers. One of these can be now a budget ledger for forecasting. Forecasting, this basically just predicting or planning for the future using the existing budget or the existing performance of your budget. So with that report that I extracted earlier, where we had a comparison between the actuals versus the budgets, from that report, you can be able to get insights and be able to forecast for future periods. We also have a question from Papa K. Philip. Hello, thanks for the webinar. But the time sent to me was 11 a.m. 12 noon East African time, but it started before that. Can you get the video? Yes. After this, an email will be sent to you with the video of this webinar. Thank you so much again for everyone. Again, you can, if you still have any questions, you can use the chat area. You can just raise up your hand and you will be allowed to ask that question.
Okay, from Cyrus, you can see our contact displayed on your screen. You said you needed maybe a one-on-one. Just went back to make sure that you capture that. And of course, these videos will also be available on our YouTube channel. So feel free, go and visit the channel. You can subscribe so that you can be getting, every time we do an upload, you'll be getting notifications, and this will be best for you when it comes to understanding this system deeper and deeper. So once again, I want to acknowledge your appearance on this particular webinar. And as I said before, on 14th March, we'll also having another webinar, which will be focusing on how you can be able to customize SunSystems to be able to meet the various available business needs. So with that, I want to thank you and wish you a very wonderful afternoon. Thank you.